Howdy folks, Little John in the brewery. Brew day. Today we're brewing up a hazy pale ale. Not really a hazy IPA, I'm not quite pushing it that far. Just looking to knock out final Christmas beer. I've got a whack of lighter, easy drinkers ready to go, and just want something just a little bit more interest. So just a hazy pale ale. So can use a whack of oats, some bit of flaked wheat, base of American ale and some Pilsner malt, a little bit of biscuit just for a little bit of flavour, just to give it a little bit more interest in the on the malt side. Be a small bittering addition during the boil, and then we'll have a drop of hops in a whirlpool, and then a dry hop. Fairly straightforward. One whirlpool addition. It'll be a couple of hops. I haven't worked. I've got to jump in the freezer and pull the hops out and work out exactly what hops I'm going to throw in it. But that's going to be simply one small bittering hit, one whirlpool addition of multiple hops, and then one dry hop. Probably dry hop around day 3 for a couple of days. So still want to try and get a little bit of the biotransformation going in NEPA style, but not following that up with a second hop hit. So not going for quite as much juice and big hop presence as a NEPA, but still trying to get enough interest there that there's some nice malts and a little bit of juicy flavour there to push through. So it'll be fermenting this in the all-rounder under pressure, and looking to get it done and out, hopefully good 4 or 5 days before Christmas. So I've got time to sit in the keg for a couple of days before Chrissy, and get me the ferment fridge clear and available to use as a Christmas fridge. So about to weigh up baby grains and get that underway, get some milling going. Now I'm doing this as a basically as a single step brew in a bag. So I've got 20, bloody memory, come on memory work. I've got 24 litres in the Brew, and I'm just going to run this as a brew bag. So it's going to be one step, and I'll just recirculate through that, no sparge, and I'll just drain that straight through. So it's going to be pushing the limit as far as the water's going to go for getting up to the overflow. But we'll see how we go. Hopefully I don't need to take any water out. If I need to, I'll pull 2 litres out and just add it back in a little bit later. But I'm hoping that there'll be enough water there and enough thinness in the mash that it's going to recirculate without any problems. So that's it. I'm going to weigh my grains up, get them milled or get them on. We'll come back and have a look how we're travelling. Righto, I've got the water up to 67. Now I'm just going to adjust that back now to 65. No, I'll leave it at 67. Oh. let's get the malt pipe in before we put them. Before we throw the grain in, you just throw it straight in. Would have been good. So as I said, 24 litres in here. So I'm just a little bit concerned about where we're going to get all this grain in here and then have room to not actually overflow. I'm a bit worried. I'm gonna. Alright, I'm just going to pull about 2 litres off. Just to make sure we've got the space. Big concern we're not going to. I initially wanted 22 litres. I run these numbers through Brewzilla, they tell me 22. So I think I've just been a little bit on the cautious side with the extra 2 litres at 24, so that's all good. We'll get this in. So first thing I'm sticking in here is our base, I said, which is 1.8 kilos of Bladfield American ale malt. Originally I had 1.2 kilo of Wyman Pilsner, but I'm at the end of the bag and I've got there was 1.3 kilo in there, so I've just gone thrown it all in. And 200 grams of Bladfield biscuit malt as well. And to that I'm adding 600 grams of oats, which is just quick oats, breakfast oats, and 800 grams of flaked wheat, rolled wheat. I was going to do 400 of wheat, 400 of barley, but I've changed my mind, just sticking with the wheat. Want a bit more wheat in there, so that's getting things a little bit thicker, but that'll stir in alright. Right, so I've got good clearance here. I might be able to get this 2 litres back in. We'll see how we go once I get it going and circulating. If it circulates alright, I'll throw it back in. If not, I'll just leave it to maybe to the boil. See how we go. Might not need to put in at all, just depends on the numbers I'm looking, I suppose. I'm looking to get 14 litres into the all-rounder, and because all I really want to get is 9 litres into the keg. That leaves me plenty of room for trub and crack, a bit of dry hopping, and which I hope I won't get too much, because I'm going to dry hop it. I will dry hop in a bag so I can put it in and take it out. I don't want to just leave it in. And I might get a couple of bottles at the end of the day. Let's have to see how that goes. Okay, so that's in. We'll get this cover off for the moment. Let's pop our, before we throw that overflow pipe in, we will throw the top plate on. A bit of room there. Seems to settle alright. Get the lid on. So I'll give that 10 minutes and we'll come back and get the recirculation started and see how that progresses. Righto, it's been 10 minutes. Now, the recirc arm in. I've just added a new little bit of hose onto the old one's getting a bit long. I've cut it down a little bit and I've popped on the little aerator tool. Just trying to get that to, it's not real straight at the moment. Well, hopefully I can straighten that out as it goes. But anyway, we'll get the pump on. I just want to go nice and slow to start with. Then some flow would be good. There we go. Ah, look at that. This is a fucking issue we've been having around here lately. It's been invaded by fucking earwigs. And I've just got a fucking mountain of them in there. Well, that's going to take some fishing. Fuckers, they're getting there fucking everywhere at the moment. Well, probably lucky I kept that extra 2 litres of water aside. I might need it by the time I scoop this lot out. Hold on, fucking mountain of them. Well, get them out of there. They won't drink much. Certainly not in their current state anyway. Might, you know, just pull this fucking top plate up. It's probably the easiest way of getting them. Ditch them off there. Just run the fraction more into the... Okay, that seems to be them. They must have all been living down the bloody pump though, there's a bloody few of them. Anyway, that's done. There you go. Brew day doesn't always go perfectly. But, bit of a boil. That'll deal with any of that nonsense. Alright, the pump back on. Nice and slow for the moment. Righto, so I'm going to let that run now for another 50 minutes. No, about 45 minutes, gives a total of an hour, and we'll come back, we'll pull it out. Okay, time's up. So that's our hour mash. Off. Right, I'm just going to pull this just with its drain. That's it, throw in the bag, no sparge, so and straight up with that drain. Righto, so here's my lunch. Sparge is underway. Oh, not, sorry, sparge. Draining the mash. So I've turned the both boilers on, and we kept trying to bring up to a boil. Just got a sample off that. See how it's looking. Okay, and that's telling me about 1056, 1057. Brewfather's telling me pre-boil of 1054. So that's looking pretty good. Now I did turn the efficiency down because normally doing brew in the bag, the efficiency, no, brew in the bag style, just the simples. When I mash on the rubber brew tends to be a little bit lower. I dropped it to 60. It will appear that I may be a little bit out, but until this is fully dried, I don't know exactly know what my volumes are, so that may have an impact on that. But for the moment, that's good. So now let this come up to a boil, finish draining. Now we're looking at only doing a 30-minute boil, and I'm going to add some Warrior in at 30 minutes for that boil, for that little bit of upfront bitterness. And as I said, I've got to go through and actually check what hops I've got in the freezer to see what I'm going to use at the end. So I'm going to finish having my lunch, then pull some hops out, and we'll come back and have a chat of that once I've worked out what's going on. Rightio. Boil is underway. I've just thrown in 8 grams of Warrior. So that will be a 30-minute addition. Anyway. Righto, underway. So I've worked out the hops. And I'm going with Strata, Vic Secret and Citra. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go 15 grams of Strata, 12 grams of Citra and 7 grams of Vic Secret at a Whirlpool edition at 85 degrees for 20 minutes. And that will be it. That's all the hops that are going to go in anywhere near the boil. And then there'll be a dry hop on day 3. Will be 30 grams of the Citra and the Strata and 20 grams of the Vic Secret. So Brewfather's telling me we've got an IBU of 29, which I'm happy enough with. Like I said, I'm not wanting to push this into IPA territory. I want to keep it in pale ale territory. So I think that's going to be fine. I've just taken another sample on this pre-boil. We come up about a litre short, so I stuck another litre of water in. There's that water that we kept back from earlier. And I just want to check now we've got a good mix going on where we're at. And that's sort of sitting 1054, 1055. As I said, which is what we were looking for. 1055. It was originally 1054. I adjusted the obviously I added the extra 100 grams of Pilsner malt and adjusted the barley back to wheat. So that's adjusted, gives us an extra 1 point on the pre-boil. So 1055 was the target pre-boil at 14 litres, which is pretty much what we've got. Not 14, 18. Where am I getting 14 from? Oh, that's the batch volume, so pre-boil 18. So yeah, we pretty much bang on that. So things have worked out nicely. I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to weigh up these hops so I can get these back in the freezer. From one, we'll go into one hop sock. Actually, no, I might just throw them in loose. Now, just going to go loose. That's fine. Anyway, so I'll weigh them up. So we'll run through this boil. We'll say 30 minutes. I'm not going to. I'll drop a whirl flock tablet in about 15 minutes, and I'll come back when we've got the whirlpool on. Okay, we're at I'm trying for 85, it's dropped to 81. So the heat's on, it'll come back up. The chiller's in, run the pump with the spray arm. So that'll start aerating and also help keep everything moving. I don't actually have a whirlpool on, that's something I think I'll need to purchase sometime in the near future. So boilers are on, coming back to temp. So I'll start the timer now. We'll run that for 20 minutes, then we'll continue cooling. Okay, cooling is finished. I'm now transferring via the pump into the all-rounder, leaving the aeration nozzle on there. So just getting some more aeration in there. Pump stopped at 12. Probably wanted a bit more than that. Check that, looked like we had 15 litres. Let's have a look. Yeah, it would appear we've got a bit of a blockage, so well, I'll see if I can get a bit more out of that. I'm back in a second. Okay, got another litre. Just crud in the pump. There's a bit of crud in here. Not too worried about that. That'll drop out quick enough. So siphon ready here. Okay, everything sanitised. Now, water's sitting on about 23 degrees, so I'm happy enough to pitch onto that. Now I've got Verdant IPA Lallemond. I'm just going to throw one pack of this straight in dry. I'm not going to rehydrate, and the reason being is that this is getting a lot of torque, this yeast, and all the literature seems to be pointing towards it just being, you know, fine as a straight dry pitch. So I'm going to go with that. I would probably prefer to be actually doing a rehydration, but given my leg is starting to hurt fairly bad, I just want to get this done and sort of packed up for the day. So it's going straight in. That'll be. So we'll get our cap on. Yeah. You want to put just a bit of pressure in this just to avoid the yeast getting too carried away. I don't want a massive amount of the yeast character. I want some, but not massive amounts. So that should be about 10 psi, which is plenty. Track down this bunding valve. Just there. Okay, so that's telling me there's about 7 psi. Now, just winding the pressure off. I don't know if you can see it, you can hear there it has bleeding a little bit of gas. And that's gas stop there, so I'm hoping that should stop us somewhere around, you know, shouldn't go any higher than 7.5 psi, which I'm happy with. Just low pressure initially. It can come up a little bit. Once I get that initial dry hop, so it's a dry hop's going to be day 3. So I'm happy to rub with that sort of around that 7.5 psi at the moment. Then day 3, I'll just let that rise a little bit. Oh, actually, probably just leave it there for the 3 days while the I don't know. I'll think about it. I might actually let it come up to about, you know, 10, 12.5. Just to try and keep the hop aromas in a bit more. But after that 3 days I'm going to take that hop bag out. I'm not going to leave it in, and then just let this finish on its own. So I'm going to whack this in the fridge now at about, set it on 18 degrees, which is sort of bottom of the range from the information I was just looking at just before for the verdant. They're saying 18 to 23 degrees, so I'm going to keep it down the bottom end. That's sort of the 18. All good. So I'll get this in and we'll come back in a couple of days. We'll see how it's going and we'll get the dry hop in. So I'll see you then. Well, before we do this, recipe of the day, got the hydro sample here. Now it's come up a little bit less than I was looking for, 1056. Main reason I think being is that on the calculations I'd enter the 60-minute boil. I hadn't changed the boil down to 30 minutes, so less of a boil off than I was planning. Meant to be 14 litres, and I've still got a litre sitting over here that I took out earlier that I didn't put back in. So I should have put that in. Efficiency. I sort of addressed it earlier. I said at 60 degrees. I really had thought about going back to 53, because 53 is the number I'd sort of normally been shooting at. And realistically looking at that, I should have gone back there. I think with the extra litre and had allowed 53 and gone a bit more on the ingredients, I think we would have been alright. So as it turns out, we've ended up 6 points under volume, but I'm not really that concerned about that. 1062 was sort of pushing the gravity a bit into a sort of higher zone. So they're trying to stay in that bloody pale ale region, but the gravity was sort of pushing IPAs, so I'm not too worried. I'm not too concerned about that. But that tastes really nice. So, yeah, no, I'm happy with where we are. So, all good. So I'll see you in a few days.